Brought to you every week by Oswego County Mutual. So pleased to be joined by Adrian Autry. A day earlier than normal because Thursday this week is a game day for the Orange. Coach, great to have you on. How you doing today?
Doing good. How you guys doing?
We're doing well.
Who's the coolest person you ever met, Coach? Was there ever been a time you were just like, you met a musician, an actor, or someone, you're like, holy cow?
Probably as a musician, probably Jay-Z, probably.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
that's a really good one.
You beat us.
Yeah.
That's a really good one.
He just topped us off.
Right. Drop the mic. End of story.
Humble brag fest is over.
It's over. Coach wins. All right, you've had a little bit more than a week since your last game. That Tennessee game seems like a long time ago. How have you guys spent this last week? Really your last week off of the season.
We've tried to obviously continue to work on some things that we need to get better at. Continue to tighten some things up and prepare for this two game stretch, which is two quality opponents. So it'll be a challenge for us. But working on ourselves and then preparing for these two games within less than 48 hours, I believe.
You played 4 games in the span of 8 days, right? Including 3 games in Vegas in the span of like 42 hours. So I would imagine that it's tough to self-scout in those situations, right? Because it's the game's over and you already got to move on to the next opponent. You can't spend too much time on that game that was just played. Has this last week allowed you to kind of I guess self-scout, for lack of a better term, and kind of take a deeper look at that 4-game stretch and learn some things, I guess, from those games?
Yeah, we definitely have had a chance to do that. I know, us and me and my staff have had a chance to, look at that and kind of, take some things from that we did well, some things that we, need to do better and continue to do better. And I think those are the things that we really focused on and, going into this break. When you play against, Iowa State, Houston, Kansas, there's a lot. In Tennessee, it was a lot. It was a really good stretch for us and a lot we learned about ourselves, some good and some things that, that we need to continue to work on.
Nate Kings came in as a high volume, high percentage shooter from the 3-point range. And this time off, have you guys looked at tape of him and seen, he's gotten to the basket and been great in every other facet of the game, but what we thought he was good at, is he getting the shots that he needs? Is he not taking them? What have you learned on him?
I think it's a little bit of both. I think, I think we got to do a little bit better job of looking for him in certain situations. I think we've had a chance to give him some easier looks, and we haven't made the right choices at times. And then a lot of it is, him just, not making. He has some open shots as well. So again, it's a combination of both. I think, I think he settled in very nicely. He showed up in Tennessee, which we needed at every point in the first half. So hopefully that'll get him going.
Overall, offensively, what have you guys noticed in the past week of going over things?
I think we're going to continue to work on our ball movement, setting screens, and being able to, capitalize, in transition. Even though we've gotten some easy buckets in transition, but I think we still can get some more, especially some threes if we can get out and run and get to those corners, get those filled. But we've done a good job in transition. But overall, in the half-court offense, I think we got to move the ball a little bit more and set some screens. But in retrospect, what you said we talked about. I mean, we played against 4 top 10 defenses, so they had a lot to do with some of that as well, which was good for us. Going forward, being able to know, like, to win those games, you have to be able to do these things. So I thought it was more eye-opening for our guys than the coaching staff.
I have a question that comes up with us all the time. In the post games, pre games, our show is, in your offensive scheme, to the average person, it looks like just a bunch of guys standing around the perimeter. What is the point of the guys being out in the perimeter, and is that what they're supposed to be doing?
Yeah, you're trying to open up the floor. You got guys that have ability, and despite what you may think, I think every coach has a style and a system and players, and it has to fit that. right? You have to be able to fit that, right? So, we're trying to take advantage. We're trying to stretch the floor out. We got some talented guys. We got some talented guys that can make plays with the ball in their hands. So, we try to maximize that and with movement and spacing. The biggest thing is spacing. So you want to stretch the defense. You don't want the defense to be clogged down, and that's what defenses are designed to do, to try to stay compact. And then sometimes, if you don't have the appropriate spacing, you're just helping. You're guarding your own man, when they make a move. So, when our guys make a move and break someone down, someone like JJ, when he uses his speed and breaks someone down, if we're not in a clear spacing, all right, that makes a harder read for him and a tougher shot for him. But if we're in the right spacing and he beats his man, which he typically can, and when the help comes off without spacing, that should be an easy, clean read and a better shot for us.
Yeah, it gives you more options, certainly. Another question we get a lot is, what are they doing about free throws? And what can you do about free throws during the season? I guess walk us through that. I would assume this last week, that's something that you guys have at least talked about and addressed. How do you improve from the line during the season, Coach?
I think it's just work. You continually get more comfortable with it. We've started a lot of our segments, with free throws, putting them in situations. That's all you can do, and constantly rep them out, getting a ton up, each day, whether it's 150, 200, and again, people, 150, 200. These guys have a lot going on. These guys are still students, right? So to squeeze that out, and make that commitment and practice and get work done, it fills their day up. But, what you can do is, continually rep it out. And obviously as a coach, you try to put them in those positions, many game-like positions as you can, so that they can get comfortable with that.
All right, let's turn our attention to tomorrow. St. Joseph's coming to town. I'm sure you had a chance to watch them last night against Coppin State. What stands out to you about this team as you get ready to play them tomorrow night?
They have great positional size. They got big front court. Those guys all could be at our level. They have a power forward level talent team. Guys that could score. Very good offensive coach and Coach Donahue, and they got really good offensive players. So this is an explosive offensive team that you got to really try to disrupt them a little bit, and they go to the glass. A good offensive rebounding team. So this is a very good offensive team. They move the ball, they cut it. They got guys that can break you down off the bounce and make open shots. So this would be a challenge for us.
So Joe Lenardi happens to be their color commentator. We had him on the show earlier today and previewing the game. And he dropped something during the interview I thought that was interesting. He said that the ACC conference reached out to him and asked him to talk to the member schools about scheduling and, I guess, as it pertains to making the NCAA tournament. How happy are you with the way the non-conference schedule shook out for you guys? I know you're obviously still in the thick of it, but as you look at it from top to bottom, are you pleased with how you guys went about scheduling the non-conference schedule?
I am. I thought we gave ourselves enough chances to get some quality wins. And that tough stretch in Vegas with Tennessee, I think that was really good. I thought I'm very pleased with the way we scheduled. We gave ourselves an opportunity where in years past you wasn't as knowledgeable of how this net ranking thing works, and I think we all figured it out. And I think overall our conference has done a really good job. If everybody can finish up in a good manner, you're walking into your conference play with 9 to 10 teams, possibly quad 1 and quad 2 areas, and that's what you want as a conference. You give yourself more opportunity, which the other conferences have done in the past, and I think the ACC has adapted well.
I was going to ask you about that, and you kind of touched on it right there, but it seems like the ACC has done a really nice job across the board during the non-conference. I mean, Paulie and I watched that Clemson game last night. They come within a whisker of beating a top 10 opponent at the Garden. There have been several wins by the ACC. And I know you touched on it right there, but that's important, right? I mean, this time of year that, obviously you guys are going to be competitors in another few weeks, but in the non-conference, you're kind of rooting for each other, right? You're rooting for the conference to be good. seed so that it opens up a few more bids come March, right?
Absolutely. For our conference, to make it the way everything is set up now, you need your conference to be really good. So once you get into conference play, those wins matter. And then when you do drop a couple, they don't impact you negatively, right? Like that's the whole thing of it, right? Like, so if you're in there, you get to a conference and we got teams, 12 teams in that quad 1 to quad 2 range. That's a quality league, and some of those quad 2s now are quad 1s when you go on the road. So depending where you play at home or on the road, you're constantly playing more quad 1 games. So and you need that. You need that as a conference, and I think that's what our conference will be this year.
All right, we do have to ask you about Donnie Freeman. What is his status heading into tomorrow? Where do things stand with Donnie?
Well, we're still getting ready, each week with him. I think it's day to day. I know it's day to day and week to week, to be honest with you. And so we're just trying to figure out what's the best route to take with him, and it's not like that. He just needs some time and some rest. He's working. He's back moving and doing things. So the signs are all good. Again, we expect him back soon. I just couldn't give everyone a timetable, unfortunately.
If I were to ask, do you think he'll be ready in time for the ACC opener? Is it does that change your answer, or is it the same?
I'm very hopeful for that. I wish I could say he'll be back that date, and again,
sure.
As the fans are wanting him back, I want him back too, so.
And I don't mean to pester you, but it because people are scared.
People are pestering us.
Yes.
So.
He will be back this year?
Yes, he will be back this year, yes. That's not,
all right, good.
That's not the question. That's not the issue. That is not the issue,
okay.
So.
Just a matter. It's not a matter of if; it's a matter of when.
Yes.
All right. That's okay. That's good. That works. All right, Coach. As always, we appreciate the time. Thanks so much for coming on. Best of luck tomorrow, and we look forward to chatting with you again next week.
All right, guys. Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right, Adrian Autry joining us here on the show, brought to you every week by Oswego County Mutual. As we drive into our second hour, it's brought to you by Burdick BMW of Cicero. Paul.
Good drive. That was a good drive.
Yeah. And there you go. That helps clear things up to some degree. And I think it's what we kind of anticipated all along, right? That it's, he's improving. He's not ready yet, but he will be ready at some point.
Speaking of the drive, Steve, and safety and health, there's a winter weather advisory that remains in effect till 1 a.m. Eastern on Thursday.
Yeah.
So be careful out there. It's through Friday morning. Snow accumulations up to an inch this afternoon. Rain showers tonight. It sounds like we're going to get that old mixed bag, Steve, and you don't want the freezing rains and the whatnot. So be safe out there.
Yes, be safe out there. Absolutely.
Thursday, 2 to 4 inches. It's a lot of snow, Steve.
Yeah. Yep. I told you I'm dealing with a cancellation. Tonight's not going to be fun. So if you're out tonight, tomorrow
2
morning,
to 4.
Yeah.
A lot of inches.
Yeah. Phone lines open, 315-437-7644. We are back after this on ESPN.